Hey guys, welcome to Bible study here at JSAW this week. We've been going through a study on who is God, like what are the attributes of who God is. And this week we are looking at how God is omnipresent. That's a big word, but it basically means that God is present everywhere all at once. Okay, so in Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 23 through 24, it says, "Am I only a God nearby and not far away? Who can hide in the secret places so that I cannot see them, declares the Lord. Do I not fill heaven and earth, declares the Lord." So God's everywhere. We can't hide from God. He's fully present everywhere at the same time. And I think that's wild because for me, I find it hard to be present even in one place at one time, and He's present everywhere. God isn't big and God isn't small. He doesn't, like spatial dimensions are not like, that's not His thing, right? Like I'm 6'3", 180 pounds. God doesn't have those kind of, measurements, if that makes sense. He exists outside of space. And He is without size. So God doesn't have all those spatial dimensions. Even Solomon, right? Solomon built the temple of God. And in 1 Kings, he's dedicating this temple to the Lord. And this is what he says as he's dedicating the temple to the Lord. He says, "But will God really dwell on earth? The heavens, even the highest heaven, cannot contain you. How much less this temple that I have built?" So Solomon, he built this beautiful temple for God, and yet he recognized that even the temple that he created it could not contain God. So God isn't only in like special holy places. So a lot of people go to buildings that we call churches, and we go to those places because we believe that God is there. But God is everywhere present. So He's not just in the church. He's also, out in the mountains or at the skate park or even at your house. Like God is everywhere, not just in special holy places. And Solomon recognized that not even this beautiful temple that he had built could contain where God is. So this doesn't mean that everything is God, or that God is in everything, or that He has blessed everything that exists. That's actually called pantheism. Instead, that God is everywhere, but He's also distinct from His creation. So God isn't everything. God isn't, my t-shirt. I'm not God. God can be seen through the things which He created, like the sun and the moon and the stars and you and me and, sunsets. But the sunset is not God. The moon is not God. God is distinct from that which He created. Does that make sense? So the things that God created, you can see God in those things, and God is present where those things are, but that does not make those things God. So you might be thinking about like, okay, what does this all have to do with me? Who cares about any of this, right? Well, in Psalms chapter 139, verses 7 through 10, I'm going to read it to you. This is what it says. David's writing, and he says, "Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast." So, wherever you are, God is there. So when God promises that He will be with you, that's 100% the truth. because God is everywhere present, right? He's not just like hanging out with Johnny and not hanging out with this other person, right? God is everywhere present. So for some people, that can be kind of scary, right? Like knowing that God is everywhere can be scary. If you're trying to hide from God or you're trying to run away from God, that can be a scary thing, knowing that God is everywhere present. To me, I find it encouraging, right? I know that God is everywhere, and I know that God loves me and cares about me. And so I've been in some really scary, dark places. And it's comforting to know that God is present there with me, that I can call out to Him for help. And so it gives me a lot of comfort. It gives me a lot of encouragement knowing that God is with me wherever I go. And I hope that God's presence is encouraging to you too. Knowing that God is there, that God is with you, that God is present with you in whatever circumstances, wherever you are, that God is there with you. I hope that encourages you and that gives you some comfort. I'll see you next week.